Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 9 Dimensions with Tracy G. I am Tracy G, the connector Tracy G, and I am going to try to explain to you today what I think is the fourth dimension. Before I go into that, I do want to just let you know I've had a change of heart as far as what I think the fourth dimension is. In my first video, I told you that I thought it was the realm where ghosts and demons, poltergeists, any kind of stuck energy lives or gets stuck, which I do believe that is still the case, because but I think there's a lot more to it than that, is what I'm saying. So the fourth dimension, honestly, guys, I think we live in the fourth dimension, and I'm going to explain why I believe we are actually living in the fourth dimension. And if you want to, go ahead and give me your comments down below, because I do think that we're onto something here. I talked to a couple friends of mine about this last night and this morning, and their eyes got big and they're like, holy crap, I think you might be right. So let me just recap, because I did mess up a little bit on my different dimensions yesterday, on the last time I did the 9 dimensions. And so I do want to edit and give you some new information. As I keep researching this stuff, I keep learning new things. So here you go. Okay, the recap is there is a 0 dimension, okay? And that is that dot I was telling you about. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just right there. It doesn't move. That's the 0 dimension. I said that was the first. It's not. It's the 0 dimension. First dimension is a line, just a straight line. If an organism lived in that line, it could go backwards and forwards, but that's all the further it can go. It's just that line. Parallel, universes could be right next to each other, never run into each other, never even know that the other one existed, okay? Second dimension is length and width. So like I was saying, on those etch and sketch boards, or on your video games, the old Atari kind of thing, they can go up and down, left and right, but that's all the further that they can go. Or, in a comic book too, they live in a 2-dimensional world, okay? 3 dimensions, that is length, width, and height, and we do live in a 3-dimensional realm. Now, I was reading up on different dimensions, and go on TikTok. There are a couple people on there that they made a lot of sense to me. Crazy Lithuanian Hacker is one, and the other one is Online Keen, or Kyne. Anyway, they talk about the fourth dimension and other dimensions. And one, that crazy Lithuanian hacker, he is a high school student, and he talks about the different dimensions, and he makes some really good points. For example, two-dimensional beings could be right on top of each other, because they can only go left, right, up, and down. They don't have height, and they don't even know what height is, because it's not part of their existence. So this is the number one thing to realize. Whatever dimension you're in, you usually can only perceive the dimension before you. So like if we are in the 3rd dimension, we only can see in 2 dimensions. For example, if I get this close to you and then I bring it back, it looks like it's smaller, and now it looks like it's larger, but it's not. Or you can't see 3-dimensionally the back of my head right now, correct? See? So we can only see in 2 dimensions, but if we're 3-dimensional. Now, I do think we can perceive 3-dimensional, which would mean that we are actually 4-dimensional. And what I have concluded is the 4th dimension is perception. Okay, I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. Perception, or consciousness, because life is what you perceive it to be, and you can be in a 3-dimensional area and have a totally different experience than the person next to you, or the animal, or the, whatever. the other conscious beings around you will not have the same experience, even though we are on the same plane of existence of 3 dimension. So I do believe that the 4th dimension is perception, and that is where we actually live. And we are, because we can understand the 3rd dimension and all the dimensions below us. And yeah, because you can't understand a dimension past where you're at. It's just, you can, like, I've seen them try to explain 4 dimensions, and they do a tesseract in which they did say something that made a lot of sense. They said a tesseract can go up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards, but it can also go inward and outward. So it can flip inside and outside. And if you can't understand, and if you didn't understand that part of it, the inside and outside, think of it as like the hem of a skirt, right? And you're at the end of that hem. And all of a sudden, they pull it up over, and now it's up here, and it wasn't down. Now, if you didn't realize that, oh, it went inside out, that's how it got to that other thing, you would think it was magic, getting from point A to point B, without understanding inward and outward. So anyway, since we do, if someone explains it to you, understand the 4th dimension, then I do think that you can, maybe some of us are trying to get into or live from the 5th dimension, which I will talk about next time. But let's just talk a little bit more about this 4th dimensional stuff. Okay, so ghosts, I do think that they do exist in a different dimension because they don't have a physical body. But I do think that there are people who can perceive them, right? And since they can perceive them, then they exist. And those people who can't perceive them say they don't exist. So life is what you perceive. That's part of that 4th dimensional thing. That's the loophole, people. Not all of our realities are the same. And that's where I get into the multiverse, okay? There's 2 different kinds of multiverse, and I am going to go and I'm going to do a whole thing on the multiverse. But the thing for you to understand right now is just that, like, for example, in the multiverse, let's say you are a 2-dimensional being, okay, and you're in this dimension, and then there's another dimension and another dimension. You shouldn't be able to go between those dimensions, right? What if you, using the 4th dimension, your perception, learn to grab on and say, you know what, instead of that car, there being no space at the parking lot, right? I'm going to pull myself into the dimension where I get a perfect space, because I know that in the multiverse, there's probably one out there, and I want to be in that universe where I get the parking spot. Now, that sounds like a bunch of hoo-ha, but guess what? Guess who does it all the time? And I do a lot of other things too, like, oh, that weather. I don't want that weather to hit my house. Or stop, I don't want that weather here because I want to be in the multiverse where that weather has already passed. Using my perception and using some synchronicity too. Like attracts like. If you believe in this stuff, you're going to actually attract more of this stuff. And then you're going to have a more positive experience. And you're doing that anyway, even if you are a negative person. Like attracts like. That's the perception thing. These are the things that you need to know about your perception that you are pulling to you without you even realizing. If you're negative, you're going to pull other negative people towards you. If you're positive and like loving and caring, you're actually going to, and it's all about frequency and vibration. What are you vibrating at? Are you vibrating at a higher vibration or a lower vibration? That is what you're going to attract. Okay, so let me see. If you have any questions along the way too, just let me know. Also, you can email me at reallyloveyourlife@gmail.com, and I can answer your questions, or I might even put your question and then answer it on my next video. So reallyloveyourlife@gmail.com. So one of the, when I did my research, I did find out that a lot of people, or some people, thought that the 4th dimension was time, which if you do any research at all, you'll know that that's ridiculous because time is in all dimensions, right? It's not spatial, and dimensions are a place of existence, or our, it's a plane of existence. So time is not spatial, so it cannot be a dimension. And plus, it means it's special, and it's not. So time is actually a man-made concept. It doesn't actually exist. Okay, it's the way that we perceive, so that we can say, oh, remember back when, and so time is kind of just, yeah, it's just in our minds. It's just in our minds. Animals don't perceive time. And in that sense, I just want to throw this other thing out to you. What if we're in a one-dimensional world when it comes to time? Or not even a dimensional world. It's like a half a dimension, because you can only go forward and you can't go backward, right? We can't go back to last week. We have to move forward in time to the next moment and the next second, but we can't go backwards. So in a time frame, we're actually in a 1D, or what would you guys call that? I would like to know what you would call that dimension, that we can only move forward and we can't go backward. But there is a loop in this too. We can go forward and backward in time using the fourth dimension. Perception. If you think about that time or that place or that person, and you sit and remember, you are literally going back in time in your mind and experiencing it in your mind. If they did a scan of you mentally, what's going on, it would be very close to the same emotions and things that you were feeling back when it actually happened. Now, if your perception of it gets warped, there is also another theory that you never actually remember the actual event. You are reconstructing it every time you think of it. And if you don't believe that, talk to some friends that were also there and tell them, oh, remember when? And you start talking about the situation. And I guarantee you someone's going to be like, that's not what happened. So that's one reason I like to write journals, so that at least some key points stay the same. But who knows? This could also be part of that multiverse and that multidimensional thing. You're remembering what you wanted to remember, and they, in their universe, it might have happened that way. They might not even be the same person that they were back then. You might be talking to another version of them, depending on where they are in their universe and in their growth, as far as who they are and who you are. There's a lot of different levels that you can experience life through. Like I said, depending on your vibration. So yeah, it gets really complicated really quickly. But just think about some of these key concepts and let me know if you have any questions. Okay. If you do like this 4-dimensional perception idea, let me know what you think down in the comments, or let me know if you come up with any holes in my theory that the fourth dimension is not just perception. And I do think this fourth dimension totally is important, because that affects your quality of life. You are choosing whether you are having a good experience or a bad experience every 4 seconds. You are choosing what reality you are experiencing. I mean, yeah, you can't control the template of the, where you're at, but you sure can control how you perceive it. Like if it's good experience or bad experience, if you're going to learn from it, or if you're just going to be, pouty and like not going to, just be in a horrible mood the whole time and not actually enjoy anything. And that, I do think, this is another thing I want to let you guys know or think about is in the Bible, it says that God, or he who, okay, with Jesus Christ, it says, he who believes in me shall not perish, but have eternal life. What if this is hell and heaven, depending on your perception? Because you shall not perish, meaning reincarnation. What if you do just get recycled, and depending on your karma and what you did in a past life, everything has to balance out. Everything has to balance out. So if you were a horrible person and you hurt a lot of people, you might be in a reality right now where you're getting hurt a lot, and you're basically balancing out what happened in a past life. Now, I'm not saying that you deserve it or anything like that. But I'm just saying karma's a bitch. And we won't know any of this stuff if it's true or not. I just want you to give you an idea. So that my main purpose for telling you that is be nice to people. don't mess with your karma, because if you are negative and hurtful on purpose, if you are intentionally hurting people, I think that in the end everything balances out, the yin and the yang, and you're gonna have to, but in the other way, if you are good to people and if you are helping others and you are loving and you're caring and you are actually helping people you don't even need to help and you're a good person, I think that's also going to help you to maybe break this karmic cycle, which is this reality that we get born back into possibly, and get up to that eighth dimension, which I think is heaven. But next time I'll tell you about the fourth and the fifth and the sixth, or the fifth and the sixth, and then we'll go from there. But once again, thank you for watching. I hope this was entertaining, if anything. And if you have any questions, put them down below. Otherwise, put your notifications on, and please like this video if you think I might be onto something. And share it with a friend. Who knows? We might just change our whole reality, becoming aware of this four-dimensional concept that we are in the fourth dimension. So anyway, I hope to see you soon. I'll do the fifth dimension soon. All right. Bye.